Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. This is the Stephen D. Kelley Show. My name is Stephen D. Kelley, and this is Truth Cat Radio, and I want to welcome you here. And if you've been listening, excuse me, that's a piece of ice in my mouth. But if you've been listening for the past couple hours, we had a lot of fun. We had a lot of the various different hosts on the show, and we got to talk about a lot of fun subjects and covered a lot of area, and I had a good time. I hope you got a good time there listening. And those of you that are still listening, thank you for sticking around. Now, bottom line is, well, let me just get through the basics here. Of course, yes, we are 100% listener supported, and yeah, I've been having a hard month because I've been in the Facebook jail, if you will, and so haven't been able to beg all the time. But those of you that have helped us out, we've had a few important, significant bills get taken care of, so that's always important. But we're at the end of the month; it all starts over, and I've got to continue with the asking for money every chance I get. Okay, so if you guys can help out, I appreciate it. And bottom line is, yeah, we do use the PayPal. Grace, be quiet. It's my turn now. Shush. And the PayPal, of course, is stephenkelly714@gmail.com, and it's on my main page on Truth Cat Radio at www.truthcatradio.com under the Support Us button. Okay, anyway, all right, tonight's show title is Pedophilia in World War III. And obviously, I talk about the same thing over and over and over again. And, God, all right, okay, I'm sorry. Sorry, guys. It's always something with an animal, but I'm going to go ahead and cover the bird. But normally the bird would be covered, but because I've been doing all these shows and being involved, I didn't get the chance to prepare properly. So just give me a second. Okay, sorry about that. She's asking me for water. It's like, no, I'm busy. Can't get you water right now. She has water, just she wants fresh water, of course. Of course she does. Okay, let me see. You know, I know a lot of people think I put a lot of preparation to this stuff, but obviously I already know what I want to say, and the main thing is I try to put it in some sort of semblance of order, and I try not to forget at certain points I want to make. But whenever we do these things, and I know when I do these things, I'm not here for my fun. I'm not here for my ego. I'm trying to lob grenades at the enemy, and I'm hoping that the more I do this, that sooner or later I'm going to drop one that's going to touch off a chain reaction and eliminate the enemy. And that's really all we can do as long as we're alive. We're either sitting here reveling and trying to get what we can from the beast system, as Graham likes to put it, or fighting that system. And it's extremely difficult to be part of that system and fight it at the same time. And this is why people that do what we do are so rare, because everyone has to eat and everyone has to survive and have a place to live, and very few of us are able to tolerate the sort of lifestyle that would allow those of us that are doing this work to not be affected by the ones that are controlling the money. And again, it's not an easy thing, but somebody has to do it. Now, oftentimes polarity is used as a weapon against us. We're being pushed into sides, and God willing, we're going to reach a level of reality where that sort of thing is gone, and I do believe that we're very close to actually achieving that. However, at this time, we're still dealing with a very strong type of polarity. And even though we should resist becoming polarized, there are certain things that require decisions on our part. Oh, who was that? That these decisions are things that we all must make, and they require choosing sides, which is certainly a polarity, because there is no straddling the fence. So obviously, as you've heard me say so often, we're dealing with the service to self versus the service to others. And obviously, those are two sides that at this point in time, we possess a little bit of each. And this, of course, is represented by the yin and yang. But this is something that we are, as a species, hopefully working towards achieving as much in one direction over another as possible. On this earth, we do have a dark side, and we have the side that's fighting the dark side. And all of us have a certain amount of that dark energy and a certain amount of connection to the dark side. And this is something that we all have to deal with. However, in order to fight this battle and in order to eliminate the dark side, we must choose a polarity or a label, if you will, that will effectively alienate the dark side and cause those of us that are still on the dark side to realize what it truly entails and choose to make changes. And the concept of serving the dark side is not necessarily something that is completely spiritual, because we see it manifested so much in the reality that we deal with primarily with our politics and our geopolitical events. And as humans, obviously, to be awake, we need to acknowledge that the dark side does exist. And this concept of not giving it energy is not going to be effective. We need to choose, because the largest weapon, the biggest, most effective weapon that we've ever had in our battle against the dark side has been handed to us, and that is, as I've mentioned earlier on the broadcast, that because of our mass communication abilities that we have now, thanks to the internet and desktop publishing and personal computers and all of that sort of thing, the ability to share information with each other has become exponentially greater than it has been in the course of the history of humanity. So as a result of that, key information such as the fact that the elite tiny percentage that actually runs the world are pedophiles and require the molestation and mutilation and consumption of our children. And this is the strongest tool that we have in order to defeat them, because there is no person that is not of the dark side that would ever condone such activity in any form whatsoever. And of course, if we do see humans that condone such activity in any form whatsoever or promote it in any form whatsoever, we know they're the enemy, which gets us to the reason for doing this show. Now, I get very impatient with intelligence levels or lack of intelligence levels of so many people, and I've said many times that the problem with the United States is that we have a majority, something close to probably 200 million people who are very, very not intelligent. And as a result of this, they are able to be manipulated, and their power is such that they can allow the status quo to continue. And of course, this has been happening for quite some period of time, thousands of years. But with the technology that we have today and the communication abilities that we have today, it becomes increasingly important to make sure that the population, by and large, is extremely stupid, so that they do not use these tools to connect the dots and to realize exactly what's going on and to the level and horror of how bad it really is. So thanks to Pedogate and WikiLeaks and Julian Assange and Seth Rich, and thanks to the stupidity, arrogance, and corruption of people like John Podesta and Hillary Clinton and Anthony Weiner, we know beyond a shadow of a doubt that pedophilia, kidnapping of children, raping of children, torturing of children, consumption of the flesh and blood of children, and the destruction of the bodies of the children is a major, major, major part of the entire structure of the ruling elite. Now, because as so-called normal people that don't dabble in the black arts and don't commune with Satan and don't harvest the energy from dying children, we don't understand this stuff, and we can't believe that such a thing could be possible because it's so beyond our comprehension and it's so horrible, and yet it exists. We've actually have Americans that don't believe that Hillary Clinton rapes, murders, and eats children, yet she has sores in her mouth that clearly show Kuru disease, which you only get by being a cannibal. Not to mention the neurological disorders that should also be associated with cannibalism. So we're getting into some events right now in the world that are troublesome, namely the constant desire to start World War III, either with Russia, China, North Korea, Syria, Iran, etc. All of the above. And we know that the noose is tightening around the pedophiles, and it would appear to be tightening around the human puppet leader facade people such as Hillary and Obama and Comey and Loretta Lynch, Eric Holder, George Soros, Dick Schumer, all these people. We know, of course, that the Russian narrative was bullshit. Of course, that came out, and people are still talking about that. But what we really have to focus on is that Trump is not the hero in this. Yes, Trump is a threat, and he is certainly the biggest threat to come to these people since myself, certainly. However, he's not fast. However, he is certainly causing the exposure of these crimes. And certainly when people talk about, as I mentioned today, that there seems to be an extreme less amount of false flags as well as chemtrails in the United States right now, since Obama was gone, a lot of people would agree that that's true. And certainly the false flags have come to an almost complete stop in the USA. However, people will be quick to point out that false flags have certainly been around longer than Obama. No shit, Sherlock. It's like saying Satan wasn't invented during the Obama administration. Isn't that foolish? It's like suggesting the CIA, the NSA, the Nazis, the Zionists, the Templars, none of that just came to be during the Obama administration. No shit, bitch. The dark state has certainly been around a long time. And what is the dark state? It is the dark demonic powers that run the earth and have been doing so for thousands of years, and have always managed to infiltrate every organization, no matter what the intentions or purity that it might start out with, one way or another. And that causes a very confusing, incestuous network of guilt and innocence that paints everybody into a very negative picture. However, whatever your sins may be, I believe that pedophilia is an excellent common denominator as far as separating the truly wicked from the civilized humans. So therefore, I would say that if you are working in any way that benefits the system that survives and depends on constant pedophilia and torture of children, then you are part of the problem, and you are the enemy. If you are working for the United States government, and if you are not working against the enemy, you are the enemy. If you are just naive, and yet you carry out orders that would be seen as restrictive of the rights of those of us who are fighting against the dark side, you are the enemy. Now, I wanted to talk about what's going on in Syria because, of course, and when this got hot and heavy a couple of days ago, I was concerned that I wouldn't even be able to get on the air in time, but certainly the war hasn't really gone. If anything, things have started to back off. However, it's still extremely dangerous. Everything the United States is doing in Syria is wrong. Everything. There are a lot of people out there that are confused about this, and they think that the United States military has a legitimate reason to be in Iraq or Syria or Turkey or Egypt or any of these countries, or even Israel for that matter. And I'm not even going to talk about Israel because, of course, that is the den of Satan all in itself. There is no reason whatsoever to support any of the United States military objectives in the region because they are completely tied to the satanic state of Israel and are designed to do nothing more than to achieve the destruction of Syria so that the Golan Heights can be permanently annexed, as well as the rest of Syria and parts of Saudi Arabia and Jordan, well, all of Jordan, from the Nile to the Euphrates. Now, obviously, that's just part of it. On a grander scale, we know that there are dark energies that require the energy that is abstracted from the torture of children. And this is the main reason why. It's not because all of the people in Washington are perverts and get off of children, even if they are. It's not because by the very act of having sex with children who will soon turn up dead causes the creation of film and recording material that would allow for the extortion and control of the individual performing the acts with the child. Yes, that happens. However, again, that is not the main reason why this is done. The main reason why this is done is to harvest the energy like a vampire would harvest blood from a victim. It's the exact same thing. And the very fact that this operation is being performed at the behest and benefit of an entity that does not even exist on our level of reality is something that causes humans on our level of reality to completely become unable to comprehend, which is unfortunate. So we have to appeal to our fellow Earth humans in terms that they can understand, such as your children are being kidnapped, auctioned, transported, raped, tortured, murdered, burned, eaten. All of these things are happening to our children and have been happening for thousands of years. We are on the edge of being able to stop this. So again, the Syrian war, I have to look at that, but I also have to look at the context of Donald Trump and Donald Trump's followers and what have you. Now, we all know that Hillary and Obama and all of that gang represent the dark side. There's no question about that they are the dark side. I do not suspect that Donald Trump is of the dark side, except for the fact that he is 100% service to self, and the work that he's doing for our country now is probably, well, let's just say it, the fraction is unknown. But if it's possible for him to actually devote his life to serving others, I think that would be certainly interesting to see. But for that to happen, I suspect that he will have to become a little more humble. And I don't expect to see that happening anytime soon. So the point is that as much hope as I have in Donald Trump's ability to allow us to defeat these pedophiles and crush them once and for all, I am disillusioned with his inability to see through the lies of the neocons, his own son-in-law, Jared Kushner, the Zionists, the military-industrial complex, and those others around him that are advising him to get in these ridiculous situations. Now, a couple things that have really stood out, aside from Donald Trump's bombing campaign that took place here against that airport not long ago. We had the accusations of chemicals being prepared for the use on the enemy, allegedly. Now, first of all, we know this is absolute fucking bullshit, because first thing is Syria destroyed all of its chemical weapon stockpiles, and this has been monitored and proven to have been done. So there is nothing there. The only thing that is there is on the enemy side, which is the Al-Qaeda/ISIS side. And all of this material is coming from either the United States, Israel, or Turkey, but it's going through that loop into Syria. We have absolutely no right, and we're doing everything we can to provoke. Now, thankfully that Russia's there, and Russia's being able to slow things down. However, eventually, there's going to be an American soldier or an American general or someone in this nature who is going to do the wrong thing. And this will cause us to get into the thing that we don't want to get into. So the best thing that we can do right now, and this is really the theme of what I'm trying to do tonight, is convince those people that are supporting various policies that support the dark side. Those people need to be, well, they need to have it smashed into their heads that they are serving pedophilia and that their actions are being done in the support of the kidnapping, rape, and murder of small children, potentially their own. I can't think of anything else. Now, if a person is okay with that, or if a person feels that it's not my kids or something of this nature, then certainly that person could be considered immoral and of the enemy, because obviously that's when you cross the line and you begin to support pedophilia. If you are not against pedophilia, you are supporting it. There is no ambivalent. Therefore, doing anything to support the regime that is fighting to stay in power now and not to be exposed makes you a tool of the pedophiles, therefore responsible as if you had been doing the act yourself. And I don't think we can stress this enough. So if you're in the military right now and you're not working against this, and you're not aware of this, then you are a tool of the pedophiles. You are essentially a pedophile. You are no better than a pedophile. I could say you're stupid if you feel this way or that way, but I think it's more effective to just say if you are supporting these pedophiles, you are no better than a pedophile. So we almost need to come up with some sort of a law or a social distinction that causes the person that facilitates and enables the continuation of pedophilia to be as branded and marked with the stigma of this as the actual pedophile. Anyway, that's what I think. That's what I think. All right. Huh. That wasn't too bad. All right, I'm going to bring you guys back in. Oh, wait a minute. Dave was busy. Richard, I'm going to bring you in. I think, yeah, Lucas wants to come back in. We'll bring soon. Yeah, that was kind of rough, man. I don't know. Did you hear that? I'm sure it's not enough, though. It's not enough of a rant.
Yeah, I'd say it's a pretty good rant, but not even a rant.
I didn't even go hardcore. I really wanted to get angry, but, you know, I could get angry now a little bit. But the bottom line is there's a lot of people out there who are on both sides of the fence, politically speaking. You know, you could have people who are concerned, might be liberals and what have you, and then you could also have people who are conservatives, who are complete opposites and would consider themselves enemies, if you would. But yet at the same time, they are supporting pedophilia, and and by supporting pedophilia, they are going to be responsible for the continuation of this demonic darkness on the earth. And I'll tell you something else. This is what I really wanted to one of the things I wanted to get out tonight was really kind of inspiration for this show, is my anger with press TV and the country of Iran in general, and even Islam for that matter. Because they're allowing themselves to become the target of this. And they're allowing themselves to be a convenient, polarizing issue that can be allowed to be used to create so much hate. And I would like to think that, you know, obviously, and I've said this before, is that if all of these Abrahamic religions did not exist and never did exist, the hate would not exist either. And neither would any of these perverse traditions, I don't think. All right, Richard, you're making lots of noise. What's going
on? Sorry, I have a couple of cats who are jumping around here, and I didn't have it muted.
Damn those cats. Damn those cats. My cats are sleeping. Like the dogs.
Oh, I agree with you on the Abrahamic religions, but I mean, I'd extend it to all religions because...
Well, yeah, they're control systems.
Exactly, yeah.
I'll say, you know, let's just say they can all be corrupted and they can all be infiltrated.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. I mean,
on the surface, I would say Buddhism has a lot of good stuff going on, just in the fact that it identifies the serving others thing pretty much.
So does Sikhism as well. The Sikhs,
yeah,
they're very much similar to that, and they're generally warriors as well. The Sikhs, because that's how their whole thing was sort of founded on being warriors of protecting what was right against what was wrong.
Kind of like we're trying to do, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting.
No, I agree with you, though. You know, it all comes down to this dogma that people have from wherever they're from in their countries, that they've been fed their whole life, and you know, they get programmed in the wrong ways. You know.
Yeah, but this is what I want to do. You know, I mean, it's not like, you know, my way or the highway, or you got to do this or that, and I'm going to be the one that identifies which behavior falls under this category or that. But
no,
we have to basically let people know that they're either pedophiles or they're anti-pedophiles. And if they are not screwing children, but they are actively doing something that supports the continuation of screwing children, they're part of the problem. And that could mean something like working for Lockheed, or being a soldier, or being a police officer, or one of these other things.
Yeah.
You know, part of that control mechanism. A banker.
Yeah. Our bankers are involved in a lot of stuff, obviously.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, those types of people, yes, but...
Well, yeah, but just
most people don't even have they don't even know.
Well, I'm trying to.
They're not
Right
even
now, my big thing right now is the war in Syria. I don't want the United States to do shit. I don't want to see any bombing. I don't want to see Trump. I'm very upset with Trump he's been acting like a complete idiot in Palestine, and he's been acting like a complete idiot in Syria. And I believe that he's having some bad influence, and I think if he can get together with Putin, he can probably maybe get some sense talked into him. But whether you're a Republican Trump supporter and you say that, the only good Arab is a dead Arab, or whether or not you are an Arab and you believe in Islam and you believe that it's okay for Muhammad to have a 9-year-old wife, or any of these various facets that are, and the pro-Israel, whatever.
I'm not into party politics at all, in any way. I'm with you on that.
Well, you're not, you are, but the people who are, there's plenty of people. See, those are the people I'm trying to reach out. There's a lot of supporters out there. There's like 200 million Trump supporters right now who think that it's a good idea to take out Assad, and it's a good idea to support our so-called ally Israel. Those people need to understand that by having those policies and those views, you are no better than a pedophile, whether you want to admit it or not, because you are supporting a pedophile system that is doing everything it can to stay alive right now. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to drive the nail into the coffin before they can start World War III. Yeah. That's the reason for this show, to try to shame all you people that would push us into war, to show you that you are dirty, disgusting supporters of the pedophilia, and you need to stop it.
Well, look what happened this week, or like yesterday, day before. Your ambassador or whatever to the UN, that woman, put out her, I can't remember her name. I think it's Nikki something. She's ambassador to the UN or envoy to the UN, whatever.
Well, is there a rule that says that UN? Pardon my words, but is there a rule that says that UN ambassadors all have to be retarded? Because we had some.
I think so. Yeah, I think it's in the guidelines, isn't it?
It must be in the guidelines or something. How else could they keep doing this? I thought it was a Democrat thing,
Exactly. It's not. It can't be a coincidence, can it? Because what did she come out and say? She put out a tweet. I mean, a UN official shouldn't be putting out a tweet as a warning to say if a chemical attack happens, they're going to pay. I mean, people have to realize what's just happened there in that. They've said if we know that they're planning, Assad is planning a gas attack, a possible gas attack again, right? Well, if that's true, if that is actually true, and they know that he's planning it, I don't buy it for a second, then how did they not know beforehand from the supposed gas attack last time that he was planning it and stop it? Well, if they know this time that he's planning one, how didn't they know before that he was planning one?
Because we're planning one. We are planning one.
Exactly.
We are blaming him for something that we are planning.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're doing it. The CIA's doing it.
So she's either come out and been very smart in a way to say, look, and hope that people find that contradiction, or she's getting orders from somebody, and I don't believe it's Trump. I'm 70 on Trump, but
same people.
Yeah.
The neocons.
Yeah.
But how can Trump not be, I used to have a little more respect for Trump. I thought he was smarter. I cannot believe how stupid he's acting. And for instance, thinking that he could go into Palestine, blow off a whole bunch of demands of Israel and the Palestinians just because he's the one giving them the demands are gonna say, okay, Mr. Trump.
Yeah.
When it's the same shit that Israel's been trying to pull forever. And they think we're going to come in and we're going to have peace in the Middle East. Why? Because you're going to make the Palestinians do what you want?
Well, I think he overestimates his business acumen, you know.
His negotiation skills, huh?
Exactly. He's not used to the, you know, geopolitical stuff, is he? And he's acclimatizing to it.
Well, he uses bullshit, techniques to try to harass and manipulate people into making these deals, of course, which is whatever art of the deal crap. But when you're dealing with people like the Palestinians who have been persecuted now for 60, 70 years, you know, they're not going to pay any attention to any bullshit from some,
No.
billionaire.
No, exactly, because they know that land is legally theirs. So how can you compete with that? You know, they know that land is theirs. It always has been. So,
well, there's geopolitically speaking, you know, there's huge stuff going on. It's not just, you know, the Holy Land per se, because obviously, you know, we talked about Khazaria and the Ukraine, and obviously the Khazars certainly, not only do they want all of Khazaria back, but they certainly think that they're going to get Greater Israel too, and everything in between. That's really what they want. If you take everything between Greater Israel and Khazaria, including the Caucasus and the all of that, Azerbaijan, everything else, that's what they want. Georgia, that's what they want. Again, you know, so it'd be
massive.
It'd be from the Nile to Kiev is what they're talking about. They want all the territory from the Nile to Kiev. That's a pretty massive amount of territory, isn't it?
And with nuclear weapons.
Yeah, exactly. They want, you're talking Kiev. Come on, Kiev. People don't realize it. They think that Kiev is a Soviet satellite that is become our fascist friend against communism. No, it's not. It's the old basis of Khazaria and the former capital of Kiev Rus, which existed before Russia.
Mm-hmm.
And these people are trying to resurrect it, and they're trying to and like you said, obviously they have nuclear weapons. Well, I think I know they've got tactical missiles, but didn't Ukraine give up their nuclear weapons?
Well, I think I read something 2 days ago. It's like Ukraine had one of the biggest arsenals of nukes up until a couple of years ago, didn't they?
Well,
Didn't they weirdly have? They were like the third biggest amount of nuclear. Didn't they have the third?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure when the Soviet Union fell, that most of that stuff was removed, and obviously with the START treaties and all that, I think they probably had it dismantled. Whether or not it's still there, I doubt it. And then you got to remember, these people are some greedy mercenary people, and they probably, if they had anything left, they probably sold it to Israel.
Yeah, exactly. Or, well, I mean, Israel were just giving it to him in the first place anyway, just lending it to him.
Yeah, they're working together anyway now, right?
Yeah. Well, look at what happened late last night, early this morning. There's two incidents, but I saw it briefly and then woke up this morning and looked at it. That they take down the Pope's the treasury of the Vatican, the head guy of the treasury of the Vatican.
Pell, yeah.
Which is, I mean, this isn't a small scandal.
Number 3 person at the Vatican. Yeah, he got busted for pedophilia. But that's kind of a distraction because they're all pedophiles. But what's the point?
Well, my point was like the retaliation straight away. Look what happens to that. They get that guy who's the head of the Vatican treasury. And then today, apparently a bomb goes off in Donetsk.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
Well, that's why I wanted to.
Oh, shit. That must be why our guy didn't show up
did
today.
You not see the headline?
Fuck, damn it. That's why we needed to do a show. No.
That's why I wanted to ask you
okay.
today.
Well, no, we didn't broadcast today. He didn't come on.
Well,
I didn't get any message or anything.
Well, this is what I wanted to ask you about.
All right. You must have got it back. Okay.
There was a brief headline on RT late this afternoon, probably about 6 o'clock, and it said Donetsk bomb goes off in Donetsk in around Parliament or something like that. And I was like,
well,
what?
either way, our man in Donetsk is incommunicado right now. Okay.
Yeah, and that's what I heard you say earlier, like that he was not around. And I was like, holy shit. Well, I want to ask Stephen if he's heard from his guy out there, because they arrest the head of the Treasury of the Vatican, and the next thing, later in the day, a bomb goes off in Donetsk. I mean, I don't see that as a coincidence.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty sucky. Boy, that makes me want to start trying to get a hold of some of these guys over there.
Yeah. Because I mean, I look at that and just think, okay, now that is a direct kind of influence for.
Here's Zach Novak. He's not online.
Is a direct thing for them to pressure Trump to go. Oh, we've got to go into Ukraine. We've got to go into Ukraine, and we've got to attack Russia because the attack came from Russia. You know. That I can see that being the storyline they come up with. Russia have attacked Donetsk, and we need to protect Ukraine.
All right. Well, this guy's not online either.
It was a brief headline. It was up for literally about 10 minutes, and then it disappeared. And I've not seen it anywhere else since. But there was a report. It was in bold red. Bomb goes off in Donetsk. Attack on somewhere or other. I don't know if it was Parliament or a government building, but it was something like that. A bomb goes off.
Dave Simpson's or Dave Robbins says that the nukes were in Crimea, but Russia took them back.
All right.
Maybe they're moving them back. All right. Well, Dave would certainly know this.
That's why I thought I would ask, because.
Well, I'm a little taken aback by all this right now, guys. I'm sorry. We've only been an hour into the show, and I'm a little distracted at the moment by this stuff. So it's like, crap. Because I didn't hear anything about the bomb going off, and obviously it had this. What's his face could have been affected by it. So, but he did leave a message on Facebook that essentially said he was leaving wherever he was. So. Apparently he had to evacuate.
Well, that gives legitimacy to that headline then, doesn't it? So many.
Well, it's kind of like when 9/11 happened. I couldn't believe it. I had to call the trade towers myself and see if anybody picked up the phone. Did you do that?
Oh my God, no, I didn't do that.
No, I called the restaurant in New York on top of the trade towers to see if anybody would pick up the phone. That's how I had to check the reality of it all.
I was actually watching it on Sky Television, but I'm in the UK, so.
Yeah. Well, they didn't answer the phone. Okay.
Oh man.
I was hoping they would answer the phone. They didn't answer the phone.
Your heart must have sank at that point, surely.
Well, that kind of tells you what it was like. Who does that, right? It's like, I can't believe this shit.
Yeah.
Call it up on the phone, see if they're there. Anyway.
Well, that's the headline I saw earlier. That's why I wanted to call in and ask you about it tonight, if you'd heard from your guy there, because I know he's out there.
Well, he's not online now. I just tried to add him to the group.
Because as soon as I read it, and then literally about 10 minutes later, the headline disappeared. And I've not seen it anywhere else. So I didn't know if it was legitimate.
All right, here we got. Let me see if I can add Natalia here. No, she's not. I don't know. What time is it over there? It's gotta be pretty late. It's gotta be early in the morning right now.
It's about 4 here, so add on a good few hours. Probably about 7, 6, 7.
Hard to say. Yeah, I don't know. Let me see. Yeah,
a couple of hours.
Well, no, it's Friday over there. It's definitely it's Friday early in the morning. Let me see. It's got to be about 3 or 4 a.m. I'm guessing right now.
I think it's probably an hour or two in front of me, and it's 4 o'clock here.
Okay. All right, because his show comes on at his is the first show of the 6 hours before me. And it's 11 p.m. When his show comes on. So, anyway. Dun, dun, dun. Wow. Is that about the time the bomb went off?
Well, I don't know exactly when it went off, but as I say, I just saw a headline that was up for 10 minutes saying that a bomb had gone off in Donetsk.
Nobody knows what kind of bomb it was, though, huh?
No. It was a bomb's gone off in Donetsk, and that was pretty much it. And there was no real story there. It was just a breaking news head, the red bar scrolling thing. It was just a red bar and goes off in Donetsk. And as soon as I saw it, I thought, because I'd already seen the Vatican guy had been arrested. And as soon as I saw it, I thought, this is in retaliation for that, because they want to draw America into Ukraine. Straight away.
Well, we are in Ukraine. That's
well, yeah, but, to actually go live fire and...
Well, it doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't. But
if they had put if a bomb had gone off in Kiev and they were blaming it on Russia, that would be different. But having a bomb go off in Ukraine, in Donetsk, nobody's going to care about that because bombs go off in Donetsk every day. It's just that usually they're missiles. If this one was a
This was worded like it was an actual, not just a launched bomb. It was like an attack.
Yeah, like a car bomb or something like that.
Yeah, like
sabotage.
an actual. Yeah.
All right. From what I'm seeing, what I'm learning is that there's a lot of they call them sabotage teams operating in there, and they're operating very, very forward. Like close to the Russian border and what have you, and they're basically operating in areas where you don't expect them to be. So when these troops, whatever, run across these people, they're usually they can, they're not ready for it. So obviously these would be the same people that would be carrying up, doing this sabotage terrorism campaign. So obviously that means that the United States is obviously supporting terrorism.
Yeah.
There you go. Once again.
Yeah.
Once again.
Exactly.
And the reason why we're not hearing anything about it is because it's us.
Yep.
Yep.
So they've been trying to get into Syria, and that warning went out. We'll do them if they do another gas attack, but no one's going to buy that.
Well, they're trying to provoke Russia. So
they've gone up to Ukraine to try and provoke Russia this time.
They're going to provoke Russia and Ukraine, and they're going to provoke, wow. That's what they're doing, huh? By doing this shit, they're trying to provoke Russia into doing something about it.
Yeah.
Retaliatory strike against Kiev. Yeah, they're like daring Kiev. They're daring Moscow to launch missiles against Kiev. That's what they're doing.
Yeah. Because, as you say, bombs go off there every day, right, in Donetsk or whatever. And it's already a war zone, so no one cares about that. But if they can do something in Donetsk and get Russia to go at Kiev or Kiev to go at Russia, no one cares about Donetsk. But as soon as you hear in the headlines, Kiev is under attack from Russia, people's ears are gonna chirp up.
Yeah. Oh, those poor Ukrainians are being attacked by Russia.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because the plane getting taken down in Syria didn't work, did it?
No.
That story about how the Americans have taken out a Syrian plane in Syria, and the Russians weren't happy about it. That was the last.
Well, the Russians have been extremely patient. We got to say that. We certainly got to say that. Yeah. If anything, we know that the Russians are extremely polite. And they don't do any. They're not, very unlike Donald Trump. They're going to put up with a lot of shit, and they're not going to say a whole lot while they're putting up with it. But you know what they're thinking. But now Israel, on the other hand, is doing its best to provoke. The United States. If you look at the coalition, the so-called coalition, we know that the United States backed down once Russia said that they were going to target the United States aircraft operating east of the Euphrates. They totally backed down. Not only did they back down, their coalition partners started to completely pull out, like Australia pulled out, and I don't know who else pulled out, but for the most part, they said, SAM missiles or SS-400s, no problem.
Yeah.
problem. We like our jets.
Well, the rest of them aren't as crazily stupid as some people in the States, because they know what nuclear war with Russia would be. Whereas in the States, there's like a suicide team that just wants to go mental, you know.
Well, they are, because they're the pedophiles. Remember, that's the thing. These satanic pedophiles that live in these bunkers are getting exposed, and they don't want to. They've got all our money. The last thing they want to do is have to give it all back. So they want us to start World War III so that we all die, so that they can keep our money, and they can fuck all the little children they've got underground stashed away.
Yeah.
Hey, Stephen, it looks like I found at least one article talking about an explosion that happened today in Donetsk, and I found 2 YouTube videos. It looked like they're supposedly documenting the explosions here. I'll send you the links here if you want to.
Well, all right, just tell me what's the gist of it. What was it, a car bomb? What?
Well, no, I haven't had a chance to check them out yet. I'm just
do that job. Check it out, dude. Come on, man.
Well, that was the thing. It said explosion rather than bombed. So bombed, I would assume, is being sent in from over borders, whereas explosion is local. Isn't it?
This is the thing about this whole campaign over there in Ukraine, is that there's no air fighting. There's no aircraft fighting at all whatsoever. For whatever reason, the Ukrainians do not fly aircraft against the rebels, if you will, and the rebels don't do it either. So this is one of the weirdest things. And the other thing is that the so-called coalition, or whoever it's in there supporting them, for instance, like the Canadians were in there, and obviously the Americans and CIA and what have you, they don't have any of their air cav or none of the helicopters and these standoff weapons that you usually see. This is really bizarre warfare that's going on over there.
So it's just ground only then, ground troops only.
Strictly ground. Now, though, this is the thing. Ukraine certainly has the capability to build aircraft. I mean, oh my God, they build the Antonov in the Ukraine. They can certainly build aircraft. They can build tanks. They can build just about anything you can build in Russia, you can build in Ukraine, although they don't have any money to build shit anymore. But you got to wonder why. And they also have these, strategic ballistic missiles.
Yeah.
Ability to build these things. So there's no they could certainly build these things, but it's probably a PR, political reason is that they're not doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. So. Well, this is why I was intrigued by that headline, because it said explosion rather than a bomb. So and so has fired bombs or whatever. It was like a specific local. There is explosion.
Well, it was enough to knock our show off the air. That's for sure.
Well, there you go. Something's going on anyway, and obviously there's very quiet word about it. If Richard's only been able to find, a couple of articles or a couple of videos, then it's either been taken off the radar quickly, or people don't want to talk about it because it hasn't worked out for them.
Oh, we weren't able to report on it. If anybody was able to report on it, it should have been us.
A couple of these are mentioning a colonel. Stephen, a couple of these are mentioning a colonel being killed.
Okay, so it's assassination. Of course, that's what they do. Well, that's how they took out, what was the last guy? Motorola, I believe it was. Was it Motorola? One of their big commanders was taken out by a bomb here recently. So yeah, they took out another commander, huh?
Hmm.
Well, they probably, the last time they did it, they took out like an apartment building or a car parked in front of the apartment building. The problem with Dave is that he's ex-CIA, and I'm sure when shit happens, they probably don't really trust him a whole lot. Even though he's working with us and everything, and we're trying to do the right thing and help him, you got to understand that, he's ex-CIA, so it's like, I'm sure they don't completely trust him. So either way, it's kind of a scary thing.
Yeah. Well, it's the fact that you mentioned earlier that you got a bizarre message, and you can get in touch with him, and I was like, okay, now this really does kind of make a bit of sense.
Yeah.
If that's happened and he's incommunicado, something's going on.
Well. All right, so I won't blame him for flaking out. I thought something happened. I knew, well, something had to happen. I don't think he was just going to get mad at me and flake out like that because this shit's too serious. So yeah, certainly a bomb going. I mean, you're living in a war zone. Obviously, there's a good reason for these things. Anyway, all right. Well, we're still doing a show here, so sorry, guys. Oh, look at this. We got all these listeners. Okay, listen, guys. All right, the people who just tuned in, thank you very much. Let's see who just tuned in. We got people, Montana, Illinois, United Kingdom. A few people. Most of you guys have been here for quite a while. It looks like. Anyway, so yeah, there you have it. Obviously, there's issues going on in Donetsk. And it had an effect on us today because it certainly shut down our ability to broadcast from Donetsk. Bummer. So I would certainly like to hear from Dave Simpson as soon as possible to find out what happened. All right. Graham Sutherland. What is this? Richard, you sending me this thing?
Oh, yeah. Well, it just seems like there's at least a couple incidents. I mean, the
SBU
building...
colonel called. Okay, now SBU is Russian. All right, I better look at this damn thing.
The one's talking about a car bomb with the colonel being killed.
Oh shit!
And then the other's talking about a building.
Yeah, hold on. Okay, so.
And this one's saying not to be confused with
all right, just enough, Richard, enough. Okay, this was by the university. Okay, the damaged the library. We know a lot of people that live right there. Miguel Puertas works at the university. Okay.
Oh, wow.
The terrorist act committed in Sarah Donetsk result damage university building trade told residents. University building trade terrorist attack part of the assembly hall of the destroyed. Oh wow!
So they burned up the uni.
All right, so they're not really saying anything. They're just saying that it could occur as a result of an explosion, but that's not what they're saying. So they didn't really say anything else. All right, this is just a Russian outlet, but it's not saying anything about casualties or anything. But it does say that the university, part of the university, was destroyed. So obviously, that's where these people are located, relatively close to that area. So anyway, unless you're in that building, you're probably okay though.
So maybe they've taken someone out and an archive as well. Then.
Well, they could have been. It says here an assembly hall. Which means there could have been a bunch of people in the assembly hall.
Okay.
And that means that whoever was speaking to the assembled people could have been the target. This is what we can guess.
Yeah.
Donetsk People's Republic. All right. Well, anyway, we will have to wait until we find out something. Obviously, I'll have to wait until I hear from, somebody over there to find out what happened. But,
I didn't mean to knock you off topic. I just thought you.
Well, it's kind of part of the topic, but it doesn't matter. I'm all screwed up anyway. We're barely an hour into the show, and I'm like I've already had it, to be honest with you. Oh, God. Well, my God, I've been doing shows. Well, let's see. I tried to start doing shows 8 hours ago, but of course it didn't happen because of this. So that's kind of funny, huh?
So yeah, it's linked, isn't it? But...
Yeah, it's totally linked. Well, I've been stressing out over my show not going on for 8 hours now, and now I'm finding out why it didn't go on.
I thought you may have. I hadn't heard about that. I should have brought it up earlier. I apologize. So.
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter. Obviously, it's related, but it's just a major distraction because we know all these people over there, and it's the same. This is no difference than if you told me the university in Damascus got blown up. I'd have to worry about everyone I know that lives by the damn university.
Yeah.
Or teaches at the university.
Well, this is it. When I saw it, I thought, okay, they've switched from Syria and they've gone up to Donetsk.
You know what? I'm going to see if I can find Miguel here. Puertas. I probably still got him. I'm sure he's not going to answer the damn phone here. Miguel, how do you spell Miguel with a Q?
G.
It's Miguel, it's a Q. Okay, he's not online either.
Yes.
None of these guys are online.
Stephen, I was just going to add before that, it just does seem like at least a few different incidents happened over the last 2 days or so. I mean, the library they're mentioning the colonel related to a car exploding with 5 people injured, including the colonel. And that mentions that it shouldn't be confused with an explosion of a Ukrainian intelligence vehicle in Kiev on June 27th.
That's a whole other story.
So that's 3 different, the building, the car, and then
thing.
Yeah, so that's 3 different events, though, I'm saying. Yeah.
All right, well, the one in Kiev is probably a false flag designed to provoke, but these other ones are definitely terrorism. I mean, the ones in Donetsk are terrorism, but the ones in Kiev are false flags. Because the thing is Donetsk is not going into Kiev and carrying out terrorism. It's Kiev that's doing that. La la la.
Well, actually, though, this vehicle bomb, the one story is claiming vehicle with the officers of security service in Ukraine ran over a mine.
Really?
On the 27th, one person was killed.
Well, yeah, but where was this? You say this was in Kiev? That doesn't make sense.
Yeah. That was 3 days ago as well.
Yeah. So, I mean, maybe there were 2 in a vehicle. The one with the colonel claimed 5 people were killed in the other article. So it would take a bit of work to sort all these out to see how.
Well, the only one I'm really concerned with right now is the one that happened that took out part of the university. So,
So this one was today. This was about 5 p.m. UK time. I looked on RT and there was a red headline saying breaking news: explosion in Donetsk, in the center of Donetsk.
Yeah, well, they're not. This particular story doesn't have a timeline on it. It just says June 29th.
Mm-hmm.
Novosti News Agency.
So, well, that would be, that would fit, though, because by the time they get report on it and put it out, that would be 29th, and then today. So you could see it with 12 hours or whatever.
They're definitely calling it a terrorist act committed in the center of Donetsk.
All right.
Okay. Huh.
Well, it seems like these pedophiles just trying to start a war up in Ukraine now. Rather than Syria, isn't it?
All right. What do you keep sending here, Richard? What the hell is this? Eastern Ukraine University. Why do they call it Eastern Ukraine University? It's fucking Donetsk. What's wrong with Press TV? See? What's wrong with Press TV? It's not Eastern Ukraine. God. That's the problem with the damn Iranians, is that they're they can't figure out whose side to be on. They need to figure that out. Well, guys, I'm a little, anyway, show must go on. Screw it, damn it. Sorry, we got too many listeners. I can't leave. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, listeners, I'm sorry. I'm just distracted right now. Okay, I'm sorry.
I knocked you off your show, Stephen. You're a agenda. Sorry.
No, it's one of those things. It's like shit.
Where do you want to go?
I don't feel like talking now. That's the problem. Damn. My rant's over. You know what? Okay, I'll tell you what. Okay, all you guys listening and all that, since there's so many of you out there, do me a favor. Join us. I need a couple of you guys to join us right now. There's a ton of you out there, so just come on in and join us. You in Australia, you can join us too. All right? We'll do it right now, okay? Give us a call, 714-598-3125. Help me out here. Say hi. Whatever. Okay? And, but seriously, I'm looking at all these people. You in Chicago, what are you waiting for? Hurry up and call in. United Kingdom, Australia, come on. Now's the time. All right? You said you're going to call in now. Orem, Utah, Dave, that's you. Get in here. That's funny. I can actually look at the listeners and I can see who all these people are. You guys need to call in right now, okay? Help us out. Yeah, I had Chinese food earlier. Wasn't that something, huh? Thursdays and eating for me don't work out too good because I'm so busy on the damn shows. I'm sorry. I'm so damn distracted. Oh, yeah, I'm doing great. I'm doing great. This is not great. This is not good radio.
It is good radio. It is. It's up to date. It's spot on.
It's only up to date in that we're involved in this crap, and it just sucks because we're involved in this crap. That's all.
Well,
it's not cool.
Yeah.
It's not cool. It's kind of like when I'm in a room and a gun goes off, and I know my kid's in that room. I'm like, that's not cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel the same way. This is not cool.
But you'd rather you be in the house than
I understand
20 miles away, right?
If the kid's not there, I don't care. If there's no friends involved, I don't care. I could swear there's somebody knocking at the door right now. Did you guys hear a knock just now? Take over, guys. I'll be right back. Hey, Dave.
Hey.
Hey, Dave.
Hi.
Hello again.
Yeah, so
I've kind of been in and out of the show for the last hour or so. Getting my house ready to sell a whole bunch of stuff this weekend. Did we figure out what the deal was with the explosion in Ukraine?
Well, it seems like a few different incidents happened over the last day or two. I sent a few links in the group chat here.
I did.
I saw those.
You guys could feel free to check out.
So, Dave, what do you think about that, man?
It's just fuckery. Just monumental scales, you know.
No shit.
It's the military-industrial complex. Hard at work.
It's a little close to home, huh?
Oh, yeah. It's the same bullshit that the mainstream media in America has been perpetrating against Russia. Yeah, it's an ancient relationship between the Ukrainians and the Russians. Russian culture actually sprang from Ukraine, something that the Russians don't like to admit.
Nobody wants to admit.
Yeah. It's tragic and it's infuriating and it's incredibly frustrating.
Well, anyway, gosh, well, we hope that our people are all okay. Of course, being that it's so early in the morning, we won't really know anything for some time. Hopefully, Dave will come through. But we know quite a few people over there in the nets, and aside from Americans who've gone over there, we know quite a few people. So it's very similar to if something happened in Damascus. I would certainly want to try to get a hold of people over there. But that's the reason why we're having this show tonight, is because we're trying to keep these bastards from bombing Damascus.
Now, we talked about natural gas.
Yeah. What about natural gas?
Okay, because that's a huge factor here. I mean, the whole reason that Ukraine is such a strategic piece of real estate is because Russia funnels thousands and thousands.
That's all stopping, though, Dave. You know, they built that new pipeline that's going to go down the Baltic Sea. It's going to completely phase Ukraine. Ukraine's going to lose every bit of that income.
I apologize. I got to run. Be right back.
Oh, okay. See it. But just for anyone that's interested, not only is the Ukrainians being completely taken out of that entire transshipment business, but all the money that they should have used for maintaining those pipes was never spent. So whether they like it or not, their pipelines are being replaced, and they'll never get used again.
Well, I'm sure you know this, Stephen, that, I mean, when you get to the levels that those guys are operating on, it's not even about money. It's about control and their own seedy stuff that they want, you know, and the pipelines and the oil and the money and all that sort of stuff that comes with it. Yeah, the lower level guys are obviously going to flourish on that and get their greedy hands into it, but on the top levels.
Well, that's a really excellent segue, and it's a very good reminder of the original theme of our subject. So if I could just jump off of that, Lucas, I want to reiterate something I've said on a few shows before, and that is that the amount of money that the enemy has at their disposal for the purposes of manipulating us to work against each other is beyond what we can imagine exists. And even if they were to give us tiny fractions, pitiful tiny fractions of the amount of money that they actually have in their resources, to us it would be considered extravagant fortunes. And this is why people like James Alefantis kill children for money, and why John Podesta is allowed to work at Washington Post, and why people like Hillary Clinton are running for president. It's all because of the money that they have. And the thing, and when you talk about and this is really something that people have to understand, and again, this is one of the main things that people have to get from the show tonight, and that is what we consider the ability to control people, and what we consider valuable and that which makes up wealth is nothing. What is truly valuable is our blood and the blood of our children. And we are nothing but cattle to be used to create those children to be harvested by those elite. And this is the only thing they care about. And they will spend all the money in the world, or major portions of their resources, just to maintain a constant ability to secure these children and the blood of these children. And this is the only thing that matters anymore. And this is the only thing that we should talk about. And this is why, you say how the mainstream media and even the alternative media, nobody wants to talk about the pedophilia, but this is the only thing we should be talking about until it's gone. Because this is the only weapon we have, and it's the only way that we can divide people in the only two camps that they need to be divided into. Because otherwise they're using us against each other. And the only people we should be fighting are the pedophiles. And people need to decide whether they are or they are not a pedophile. And if they say, well, I don't fuck children, well, it's like, well, yeah, but you support Israel. You might as well fuck children. You're the same thing. You're going to war. You're anti-Assad. You're anti this or that. So this is the message tonight, is that I'm trying to get people to use these tools against the enemy, to paint the enemy with a brush that is so terrible that they will either stop doing what they're doing, or they will become so obvious a target that they will be removed by those of us who are not pedophiles.
It's time.
It's time.
Yep.
And this is the only way that we're going to save our earth, and it's the only way we're going to have paradise on earth, is if once and for all the pedophilia is eliminated. And when you eliminate the pedophilia, it will take all the trash and vermin with it. And the only way we're going to do that is by going underground eventually. And we're certainly going to have to deal with the Obamas and the Clintons and the Podestas. I mean, oh my God, look at what we've got working against us. The Washington Post is run by the CIA, funded by the CIA, and actually gives money to John Podesta, a known baby killer, wanted by Interpol for 2 murders, known pedophile, and yet they give him a voice like he is some sort of national political pundit. And then you have the New York Times, what is supposed to be one of the most respected periodicals or whatever, voices of so-called not fake news in the United States. And we know that the guy that runs it is the very same guy that protected Jimmy Savile and all the pedophiles at the BBC for all those many years. And now he's going to come to New York, run our big newspaper in our country, and tell us that pedophilia is fake news, when he had Jimmy Savile working for him, fucking children on BBC property under his care, his guidance, his leadership. He enabled it and he facilitated it because they all worked for the same club, and because Jimmy Savile was nothing more than a procurer of children for all the pedophiles of the entire system. Just like Mr. James Alefantis is paid so well to procure children for all of those Satanists. I mean, this shit's so bad, it's just got to stop.
That fucker, that Jimmy Savile, that guy, he would take children into number 10 Downing Street when Edward Heath was Prime Minister here, and he would slit their throats in front of Ed Heath so he could masturbate to that in number 10 Downing Street. Reportedly, allegedly, that is part of what he would do.
We all know it. And there's the famous story of Ed Heath going sailing, you know, taking his little sailboat out. I don't know what the name of his sailboat was, but it's well known that people saw children get on the boat and people saw children not get off the boat.
Yep. Yeah.
It's
rife and it always has been in English.
And how about the bodies that are supposedly being dug up on the Clintons' property right now? Nobody seems to be talking about that. Like it's just a big rumor.
They've been dug up over here in like
the Queen's backyard, right?
Yeah, they've been dug up over here, and it's like, oh, okay, we found bones and stuff, but you know they're
missing
really
women.
Old, they're ancient. And it's like no,
missing kidnapped women are turning up on the Clinton estate right now. Or how about, you know, here's another big story that's not making anywhere. This is why we have to have World War III, is because of shit like this. The Clinton Foundation, you know, has this charity, which we're finding out now has billions of dollars. It's not millions of dollars. It's billions of dollars. This is the Clintons. These are public servants. They now run a charity worth billions of dollars. Where did it come from? They have tankers. They have shipping. They have ships capable of carrying containers, container ships. They have a fleet of container ships. They have a fleet of C-130 aircraft. They have helicopters of all shapes and sizes. Why? You think the Clinton Foundation needs a fleet of C-130s or a fleet of tanker or shipping carriers ships for giving supplies? No. What did they do with those ships? They'd take them to Libya, they'd load them up with weapons, they'd sail over to Turkey, and they'd unload those weapons. Clinton Foundation actually transported the weapons for ISIS.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, we all know from people like Tosh Plumley, who's come on our show and basically said he hand-delivered fucking cocaine to Bill Clinton when he was loading up on weapons at Mena Airport, you know, to be flown over to the drug dealers in South America in exchange for coke. You know, they were very much, this was the CIA. This is what they did. They always do that. They don't, when you are moving a tanker or a C-130 from one country to the next and you load up cargo, when you offload that cargo, you don't come back empty. You come back with some cargo. You know what that cargo was? If it wasn't drugs, it was children.
Mm-hmm.
They had containers filled with children. They went to Haiti when they had that earthquake in Haiti, and they collected all those billions of dollars. They kept it. You know what they did with $1 billion? They probably bought a container ship to load it up with kidnapped Haitian children to feed to the damn Satanists. And you know what they do with the children that aren't cute enough, or they don't pass the test, they don't make it all the way into the Getty or whatever? They just kill them. You know.
And that Stephen, is what they talk about when they talk about free trade.
Yeah.
They ship over a shitload of guns and they get their boats loaded up with sex slaves.
Well, here's the other thing.
Free trade.
Wow.
The Clintons and their little whatever you want to call it, humanitarian crap, were probably being exempt from any inspection whatsoever because of who they were. And get this, here's another fun little secret. Museums are exempt from inspection. Isn't that interesting? The Getty is one of the biggest shippers of shit from all over the world. The Getty is going to be receiving containers of stuff from all over the world that are supposedly art in those containers, and not one of them is ever looked at because the law says that anything being shipped overseas by a museum is not to be inspected. This is why these museums are all involved in this pedophilia, because that's how they ship them back and forth. That's why the Getty is involved in this so heavily. They can bring in children. People go, oh, how do they get 100,000 children? Oh, I don't know. In big old tankers and big old containers. Let me see. 40-foot long container, 10-foot tall by 8-foot wide, could probably hold a few children. What do you think?
Of course.
Yeah, they could be sedated. You could have them in boxes, whatever. From what I heard, they have them in little like socks. They wrap them up in like white sock looking things.
Oh, Jesus. Like a fucking mummy.
A cocoon, yeah, like a mummy. That's what they do. They slip a big white. This is what we saw when we were doing all the remote viewing. We saw the children coming in wrapped up in these cocoon-looking things. They're probably socks. They just slip over the top of them, and that gets them, keeps them from screwing around too much. Easier to ship that way.
Oh my God.
It's like in New Mexico when they come in there and they get the women. They wear those big long dresses, right? So they just take those dresses and pull them up over the top of their head and tie them in a knot. You know what I mean? You can't fight. They can't fight that. Pretty terrible, huh?
It's so horrific,
But nobody believes this shit. They don't even want to talk about it.
I know. You get to a point where you become almost numb to it because it's so horrific, and you hear.
Yeah, that's what they want. They want people. That's why we're being pushed with this pedophilia, this transgender shit, the everything else. We're the LGBTQ, PD, whatever, everything that's going off right now. It's just fucking ridiculous. The sexualization of children, the feminization of men, the masculinization of women. It's complete corrosive destruction, and it's all designed to help facilitate this constant sacrifice to Moloch, the Babylonian death cult. And ultimately, you guys, I couldn't say this in front of Graham here, obviously, but if I learned anything from all that remote viewing shit, is that the ultimate recipient of all this loosh is Lilith, and Lilith is collecting it for Lucifer. But all her little demons and all her children all need this stuff to live. So without all this loosh and without all this constant capturing of children and everything else and all this bullshit that goes with it, they can't survive. They stop living. It's the lifeblood of the dark side, basically.
That's why energies and the total impact of news and the ferocity of news at the moment and what's going on is getting so intense.
They want to create
but their supplies gradually getting cut off. The internet
where they have some celebrity, they say, "Oh, the celebrity died," and it's a bullshit story, right?
Yeah.
But out of that bullshit story, how many million people look at that story and have a momentary lapse of whatever and generate all sorts of sad feelings? That's loosh.
Yeah.
It's like, let's make some loosh. They're constantly trying to make this shit and cause us to create this shit and hate each other and all that. But that's not good enough. They have to actually extract it directly from our children because that is somehow the most valuable.
Well, that goes into the bone marrow and all that, and boiling up fucking bones and seeping out the bone marrow and drinking it down and all this. This is ancient practices. You know that, Stephen. It goes way, way back.
Well, it's the life energy. The bone marrow is certainly a place where the blood is produced. It's has a lot to do with other things. In fact, have you seen the latest thing now they have where you drink whiskey by pouring it down a bone where it still has marrow in it?
Oh, Jesus. No, I've not seen that.
Hey, watch your voice there. Watch it.
I love drinking whiskey, but...
You want to do that one, huh?
Yeah. But no, I don't want to do
that. A lady's
that.
slipper is okay, though, right? Yeah. Okay.
I certainly don't want to drink it down marrow bone. No
Have
way.
you ever seen that movie From Dusk to Dawn?
Yeah.
And she pours tequila down her leg. Was that
Salma Hayek? Yeah.
Hayek, yeah. Of course. Well, obviously, you'd drink that tequila, wouldn't you?
I'd drink that tequila. Yeah.
You guys know the movie I'm talking about?
Only from her toes, though.
Yeah, only from her toes. I have the feeling that Richard and Dave here have not seen that movie. Huh?
Oh, how could they not? I've seen
I
it.
don't know. Richard, what's the matter with you? Have you seen that movie or not?
No, I didn't. I didn't see it.
Dave, have you seen From Dusk to Dawn? Quentin Tarantino?
Yeah.
Okay, then. You know that scene, right?
What was the scene? I'm sorry, I had to run.
Oh,
and grab something.
We're talking about the scene where Salma Hayek pours tequila down her leg into Quentin Tarantino's mouth.
Oh, yeah. Who could forget that?
Yeah, that's weird. We were talking about bone marrow and pouring things down bone marrow and all these rituals. And I said, well, what about, when Salma Hayek did this? You drink that tequila, right? You drink that tequila, wouldn't you, Dave? Of course you would.
I probably would.
Richard, you'd probably drink that tequila too.
I don't know. I'm not a tequila person.
Hey, I'm gonna get that dirty toe away from my mouth, right? That's what
Richard's
you'd-
like, where's the
Something
lemon
like
come
that.
from?
something like that. You'd say, "Ooh, Salma Hayek. Ooh, get her away."
Even
like
if she
tequila.
held lemon between her toes, would you drink it then?
I don't have any foot fetishes, so.
I'm not talking about foot
Salma
fetishes.
Hayek fetish. All right, never mind. For all the listeners, I'm sorry for going there. Get back to the important stuff. Come on, I got to lighten it up because I'm upset about donuts and you know, I'm sure Dave's all right and everybody's okay, but still, you know, it's right along what we're talking about right now, which is bizarre. You know, I've been looking at the lock here. I took Google Maps and went to the Loch Ness, and the whole time we had Graham here, I was trying to find his house. You know, I've seen his house before in pictures, so I thought if I looked around I could find it, but they're not allowing me to zoom into the lock very close. Oh, now I can. Now they're letting me zoom in even closer. Oh my God, this is weird.
You're going to find it. You're going to find Nessie.
Let me tell you guys something about this the Loch Ness, just so you understand. Scotland has a crack going across it, a diagonal crack, and it runs upwards from 45 degrees across, say, like from about 7 o'clock to 2 o'clock, if you will. All right. And it's a crevice, as Graham was saying, that runs directly across the country. And so in other words, there's a couple places where the land bridges across this crevasse, but this is what the locks are. There's several locks. So if you look at this line, it's a straight line of these big, long, skinny lakes that they're calling locks, and you could see where if you take out these borders, these little sections, they would connect to the ocean. So it's really bizarre. But when you think about it, considering this is an ancient, probably very deep crevasse, like he says, it's conceivable that something like that could have been protected, you know, for a long, long time. Huh?
Do you think the crevice could go as deep as the Hollow Earth?
No, I don't think it could go that deep, but I think it could go several miles, if you will, which is plenty of room. You know, I mean, it's hard to say, but this is the thing. If it is what it looks like, it's a crack that goes straight down, kind of thing. It's almost like I don't know if there was a split, like a crack in a crystal, and or a rock or something, and the rock just sort of, you know, like you go in the desert, you see these rocks are split in half. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like that. This crevice here is like a split like that in the rock that is Scotland. So yeah, this thing goes right. It cuts right across Scotland, from one ocean to the other. And the Loch Ness is right in the middle of all that. It's like, yeah. So Inverness, where Graham lives, is a little city. Let me see if I got my north and south right. Yeah, just north of the loch, and then he has the ocean. You know, whatever is the canal. What is it? The channel, right there, or the North Sea. Yeah, the North Sea on one side. You know, and then you go straight down, all the way down to the other side. Let me see, where does it go through? Any big cities? No, there's nothing really big down there. It looks like his city, Inverness, is the biggest city, but it goes straight through all the way down to the Atlantic Ocean. So clearly, and you see, the thing is the idea is if it was miles and miles deep, and some geological thing that happened that closed off this channel, it's very likely that whatever was in that channel got stuck there.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, you could see it's really, really deep, and it's not a lake, that's for sure. It's definitely a big, huge geological thing there going on.
And they could easily all be connected.
Oh yeah. Well, at one time, Scotland, apparently this channel was probably a little bit wider. Okay, and it might have closed up, but it was a big old crack, and apparently it had landslides or something that closed up and created these they call them locks, which I assume means they're locked in. You know, they've been locked away from. Like, in other words, if you look at the Inverness where Graham lives, that city where he lives, it's basically completely cuts off the lock. You know, his city is the land that cuts off Loch Ness from the ocean.
That's what Inverness means, is mouth of the river Ness.
Yeah. So
I'm looking at Wikipedia here. That's awesome.
Apparently, this was a river, ancient river. I don't even know how you call it a river because it's oceanic. It's like a Panama Canal. And then there's another one. If you go further down, there's another city here, Fort William or whatever, and it looks like, if you're looking at it again, it's been completely cut, and you see there's a couple waterways that go almost 90 degrees off to the west from where they should be. So it's really weird. There's a couple little tiny channels that look like they're man-made rivers between the loch and the ocean, but they're obviously all that land that's between the loch and the ocean clearly wasn't there at one time. So it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
No, it's been trapped in there.
And it looks like there's some high ground there too. See, so if you look at the land just opposite, this makes sense too. Oh yeah, this totally makes sense. If you look at the land right there where the loch is closed up, there's a rising point, a high point. It looks like a mountain. They call it Ben Nevis Mountain, apparently.
Yeah, Ben Nevis is like the highest. I think it's the highest mountain in the UK.
When Ben Nevis popped upwards, it closed up the loch, apparently. And then
well, this is the thing, right? I mean, you're onto something, because the deal was everything see how straight that line is down, where that totally river goes down. It cuts right down, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's just straight through the country, like a rock cracked in half.
Yeah, and to the left of that, as far as I know, everything to the left of it there is what is known as the Highlands.
Right, it's all mountainous.
So the mountain lands. And what I think the deal was when a flood, I'll say a flood, not the flood, but a flood happened, that it was such a high mountainous amount of ground, but some of it got flooded.
And it washed down into the loch.
That's washed out,
but that's what it looks like.
But then there were valleys and dips and lochs left from it.
Well, that's why the water is going westward, because from Glen Nevis, it went straight down right through, and it pushed, and that's why those diangular or those angular water movements were because of that flow of land, apparently.
Yeah, it goes right down, cut straight down towards the Isle of Man.
Right, but you look at
the Isle of Mull.
You see the loch and the whatever, the bay or tributary, whatever. It's like a perfectly straight line, and then right where it gets cuts off, on both sides of where it cuts off, there's perpendicular channels going in the opposite direction.
Yeah.
So clearly you could see the flow. If you look at the mountain, the topography here, you could almost see where the mountain top just flew down in, covered up the loch, and kept flowing, and caused these new rivers or whatever to pop up at 45 or 90 degree angles.
Yeah. And that wouldn't happen naturally just over wear and tear for them to have little lakes that size perpendicular like that. So obviously it's seeped away and it's just got left in those places.
Very crazy. Yeah, I never looked at the topography like that before. That's fascinating, though, when you think about the time frames that we're thinking about here in order to catch a prehistoric creature in this loch.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
It totally makes sense now. It's not just a silly ass lake, is it?
No, not at all. Not at all. And all of that land to the left, to the western side there, from that cut, is what's known as like the Highlands.
Yeah.
So
there's not a lot of development up there, is there?
No. It's very. It's a long way between. Yeah, I could see it being like the States. It's probably the closest thing that England, the UK has to the States. Is a long way between a lot of stuff. You know, you have to drive a long way first before you get anywhere.
I'm looking at the road system, and you could see the road system going through that everything west of the lock is strictly like mountain roads, practically.
Graham will be able to correct me if I'm wrong on any of that. I mean, he will know that typography.
So he lives
topography big time.
Trippy, huh?
But I think that's what the deal is. Yeah, it's a lot more mountainous and a lot more sparse on that patch there to the left.
Well, you know, I'll tell you though, when we talk about the ocean water rising and the the Earth changing, the polarity shifting, and all that sort of thing, you can totally see how this area would change. You know, with the water filling in most of that whole century. In fact, Scotland would probably be flooded. It would cut right across Scotland.
Yeah, well, it did, because if you look up further, you've got the Faroe Islands and the Orkneys and the Shetlands, the patches of land above. You know, if you look at like that being the head of England.
That's where those atolls kill all the whales. So.
Yeah, and you look at the patches of islands. I mean, back in the day,
right. Now wait a minute.
All of that was connected.
The Faroe Islands. Who's Faroe Islands? It's not Norway. Norway disowned the Faroe Islands. So what's going on there? Is it part
they're under. I think they're under Commonwealth essentially, and they always have been. Even though I think it was like, okay, we'll let you sort of. Well, not me, but I think England was like, we'll let you sort of have them, but they're actually ours. I think that was the deal.
Oh, you know? So in other words, Norway. Wait a minute. Who let who have it?
I think England was like, okay, they're in your territory, so you can fish and all that, and we'll have them as a shared fishing area and and boating and shipping area and all this sort of stuff. But I think they were still always under British control.
Well, the only reason why this is interesting to me is because the people in Norway disown the whale slaughter that goes on in the Faroe Islands. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, aren't you guys administering this territory? What's the deal? So it's like conveniently, nobody wants to take responsibility for it. How convenient is that?
Well, exactly, yeah. I think it's the same old thing. No one wants to take responsibility of anything, do they? They want to own it, but no one wants responsibility. So I think it's English ownership, but it was sort of given. It was like, okay, they're yours because they used to be to Norway, but we don't want responsibility. And then Norway are like, well, we're not taking responsibility, but we'll use it, sort of thing. But I mean, if you look at that spit of land that comes off of the head there from Scotland, you've got the Orkneys and the Shetlands, and then the Faroe Islands are up a bit further. But that land back, well, I mean, we're talking thousands of years ago, that land then was connected. It went over to Norway. I mean, there was only small tributaries and rivers, and the space between the United Kingdom and Denmark, there was a whole area there which is now underwater, and it's called Dogger Bank, and that was above water as well. So like it was actually pretty much connected.
Well, you're talking about a big spot of land here. Are you talking about from these islands? Because if I look at the underwater topography, it's relatively flat.
It's relatively flat, but this was a long time ago, and I'm not saying it was like you could swim across a swimming pool and get there, but it was close. It was close enough that they were kind of connected. And
well, I could certainly see Denmark being connected to Sweden. You know, that seems pretty obvious. But
yeah, and if you go left into the North Sea from Denmark, then there's an area basically in the middle there which is called Dogger Bank. And a few years ago, the BBC came out and said, yeah, okay, we have actually found a landmass in Dogger Bank, and you know, it's higher than the rest, and we think that there was some wreckage there of some.
Is that by Aberdeen, or what city is that by?
If you would go sort of, if you were to go across from Newcastle upon Tyne.
Okay. Newcastle in UK. Okay, Newcastle on Tyne. I see right there. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So if you sort of go across from Newcastle and towards Denmark,
Uh-huh.
like it's kind of like in the middle there.
Well, that's a lot of space. It's not like crossing the channel. That's a lot
Well,
of
no,
space.
it is. Yeah. I mean, the channel from Dover to Calais is.
Well, let me just say, it's the distance you're talking about is practically the entire distance of from Scotland down to bottom of England.
It is, but to drive from Scotland to where I am, a friend of mine did that from work, and it took him 7 hours.
Hmm.
So, I mean, this is, I think American.
It's hard to imagine because there's a big difference. Yeah, I mean, there
is.
It's not very. Yeah.
On these maps, the UK is so overblown in size that people don't understand how small it actually is. Because the United Kingdom on the map that you might be looking at.
Well, I'm using Google Maps, Google World, or whatever it is.
Yeah, but it's not the size of France or Germany.
Well, it looks pretty small, trust me, compared to France or Germany. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure. Well, maybe it does, but
that's like in the United States. All the maps have the United States in the center of the map.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, I think I read somewhere that the UK, and I don't think it includes Scotland, but just the UK itself can fit into Texas 7 or 8 times.
Yeah, I believe it.
And I know Texas is big, but that kind of gives you an idea of how.
Well, it'll fit in France a couple times, and in Germany a couple times. It looks like. Exactly.
So it's very off. So we have to kind of consider the actual space between.
Yeah, and then Russia, how many times could it fit inside of Russia? Oh my God!
Yeah, exactly. Like,
oh my God. I'm looking at it right now. It's like,
well, this is why Putin can sit there and go, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, it's like, my God, you got to be at least 500 UKs or 1,000 UKs in Russian landmass. It's huge.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Oh no, it's the thing. It's all out of proportion, and the UK has always been, because if they were to draw it the correct size, you would hardly see it. It would look like the Faroe Islands there. Yeah. It would look that small compared to everything else.
Faroe Islands small. Okay, I guess. Yeah. Anyway, all right. So much for UK dominance, right? What do we call that? Anglo superiority.
Oh, well. There's a difference between the British and then the Anglo-Gaelic, though. So
anyway,
the British.
Screw the British.
British.
That's what I said.
Well, the British.
Never mind. We have lots of British friends. Sorry, guys. We don't want to screw the British.
Well, no, because the British.
Kidding.
British establishment, isn't it? It's the British Covenant men. They're the Judeo-Christian Covenant men. The British.
All right. The Zionist ones we don't like.
Yeah, no, it's Brit.
We don't like the Queen. Sorry, we don't like the Queen. No, you know what? To be honest with you, I do not like Theresa May. Okay, to me, she's one of the pedophile enablers, if ever there was one.
Well, the other day I was reading an article someone had written about her father was actually connected to some reverend, like priest guy who was involved and busted for that kind of stuff.
Of course he was.
Yeah.
Surprised.
Yeah, doesn't surprise me. Doesn't surprise me. Yeah.
But anyway, we have actually made it through somewhat of an hour with all the messing around we did all night, with the various different shows. Did you have fun, Dave?
I sure did.
Yeah. What was your favorite part?
Yeah, I've learned a lot tonight. The geography of Scotland was fascinating.
Yeah.
The conversation we had about the Ark of the Covenant was pretty mind-blowing. I guess that was during Richard's show, though.
Well, there you go. Richard had a good show.
Totally.
Well, I got to tell you guys, when I do my rant, I have to kind of sit there and just not think about what I'm saying. I have to think about what I'm saying, but I can't focus on who else is here and everything else, and I just have to spew for a little bit. So that's why I can't have everybody hear when I'm spewing. But once I'm done spewing, I'm kind of it takes everything out of me, and I'm ready for someone else to jump in and start talking. Like right now, I'm trying to go get some iced tea and relax because these shows take a lot out of you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You're a good orator.
An orator. Is that what it is?
Orator, like oration, speaker.
I did oration. You know what that's what I was saying earlier during Graham's show is that I was, Sean David Morton used to go out on these cruises and he would lecture on the cruises and he'd get to take a free cruise. And I'm thinking, shit, I got to do that. I could, do with a little cruise action. But I thought, first of all, I've got to be able to get on the boat and get back into country because, of who I am. That's not so easy to do. And I'm thinking, well, if I could succeed in that, then I thought, oh crap, I can't be away from the server. Got to keep TruthCat going. So no vacations for Stephen Kelley. Such is life, huh?
What about a Ghostbuster backpack server? Mobile server.
Mobile server.
A proton pack.
Mobile are that's what you could do. I could have a computer that was connected to the server via,
satellite?
No, not satellite, Team Viewer.
Right.
But I'd have to have it on all the time because, obviously I have to monitor and make sure it's even running, it's like, but no, when you guys are doing shows, I have to record the show and I have to help you and do the commercials and I have to do your videos. And that, of course, takes lots of time. I can't do that from a cruise ship. So,
but you would get to bust pedos wherever you are, though.
I'd probably bust pedos wherever I was. Although the cruise ship might not be too receptive to that particular message. They'd probably rather I talked about something warm and fluffy.
That's true.
Like Reiki.
That is true.
Yeah. Because they're part of the system. They're part of the beast. Obviously. Yeah. They're all, that's the thing about our business. And I'll tell you, this is part of the thing that I wanted to get on that's really difficult about our business. And as I tried to say, and of course we're going into overtime, but all of us are trying to eat and keep roofs over our head. Am I right, Dave? And it's not easy.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we have to compromise. And if anything, it certainly gets in the way of our ability to do what we're doing. And obviously, just by doing what we're doing, we put ourselves in a position where we're not able to so easily take in the money that we might have taken if we weren't doing this work. And so this is, and obviously the more you do it, the worse it gets. And certainly I'm in a position where I'm as worse as it could possibly get. I've absolutely zero income except what people give me just to support the station. And as a result of that, I'm very jaded when I have to witness other people who are very mercenary, who take advantage of us, who use our platform to try to make money off of people who are trying to become spiritually awake. That just burns the hell out of me, especially when people go out of their way to learn the right things to say and the right bullshit to spew in order to sound like they're one of us. And we have a lot of that in our industry. And some of it I have to just kind of overlook because we have to have a big tent and we have to try to reach out to as many people as possible. But at the same time, you guys have to understand if I'm acting the way I act, it's because it's extremely hard for me to stomach all this crap. And it's just like having to deal with the fact that I've got 200 million fellow Americans who are extremely stupid who will never wake up. It's extremely frustrating and difficult because we can't reach out to those people. And if you try to reach out to them, you're gonna make them feel stupid. The only way you can deal with them is through trickery and deception, and that's what politicians do. Yeah. We're trying to use truth, and it's not easy because they're fighting us. And hence the program tonight, again, excellent segue, where I'm trying to remind everybody that if you're fighting us, you're fighting for the pedophiles. If you're not fighting with us, you're fighting for the pedophiles. You practically are a pedophile, and that makes you our enemy. And our enemy are the pedophiles and the people that enable the pedophiles and the people that fight for the pedophiles and the people that support the pedophiles. And that is the only rule of thumb that we need to decide who is an enemy and who isn't. So we need to work at convincing those people that are on the wrong side of history right now that they are fighting for the pedophiles and that they need to own it or change. So that's really the theme of the story. Any final words, Richard?
No, I think that was a good final message, Stephen. Thanks for having me on.
All right. Well, I'll talk to you later. All right. Get me
Okay.
I'll get your show going if I feel like it. I will.
Okay.
See ya.
Bye.
All right, Lucas. Final words.
Game on. You're spot on. I agree with you completely. Thanks for having me on.
All right. Well, have fun. Later.
You too.
Good night, all.
Look at you. Good night, all. Bailing on me like this. You don't get off that easy. You're supposed to say something wise.
No pressure.
No pressure. Come on, Dave. That's what we do in this business. You know, this is what I told Daryl. I told Daryl, I don't want you to read to me something someone else says. I don't want you to have some wise guest on. I want you to share your wisdom. That's what we're here for. That's what the listeners want to hear. So what do you have to say?
Wow. Well, like Richard and Lucas said, I think you did a beautiful job summarizing the show, summarizing the whole mission of Truth Cat, our whole purpose here in this movement. This is a big deal. This is not something to be taken lightly. This is one of the most important, most dire struggles that's taken place on the face of this earth, and it's probably been going on for thousands and thousands of years. And I'm honored to be part of it.
Well, it's the only thing that matters, and I guess that's what I keep trying to tell everybody. So, anyway, but thanks for being around, and it's been a lot of fun, and we'll talk to you soon. All right.
Sounds great. Thank you, Stephen.
All right. Yes. All right. Anyway, those of you that stuck around to the dire end, thank you so much for hanging out. As you know, these things aren't the easiest thing to do, but we do it. And anyway, like I said, I'm glad that you made it and chose to listen. And I'll do my best to get the video out, and because I know a few of you just tuned in and didn't get a lot of it. But it was a big day. We did a lot of crazy things, and like I said, I'm glad now to know that our Donbass guy Dave didn't just bail on me, that something actually happened. But at the same time, I'm concerned, and I will feel a lot better once I hear a little bit about what happened. So obviously I'll keep you posted as I hear about these things. But again, I want to thank you all for being here. And again, my name is Stephen D. Kelley, and you're listening to Truth Cat Radio. Oh wow, my computer's acting weird. We've been having all kinds of weird computer issues, guys, as you know. I hope music doesn't start playing. It looks like it's going to, but if it does, I apologize. Okay, here we go. Yeah, just bear with me. My server's acting up. I think we may be having some heat issues. I probably need to get in there and clean it a little bit. Dust these things off. But a lot of the screw-ups that happen probably are because I'm using a really crappy old server. I mean, it is what it is. It's was donated, so I'm certainly happy to have it. But obviously, it needs to be upgraded, and even the monitor I'm using is not too cool, which is one of the reasons why we suffer so much. I keep, because obviously your monitor has a lot to do with the mouse and the buttons that you push. It's not even letting me load up my silly music here that I want to load up for the end of the show. Can you believe that? I swear. Okay. One of these days I'll get my, that's one thing. If I did have a automatic DJ, I'd have to turn it off in order to do this stuff. But look at this. I can't even load up my stupid music at the end of the show because the server is lagging, which means I can't even end the show until my server stops screwing up on me. Oh my God. Oh, you people, don't you love it? Oh my God. Seriously, I'm watching the server just completely lag right now. Pathetic. I don't know what to tell you. No, seriously, I'm trying really hard to sign off, and I don't want to sign off. I can't even turn off the recording until the server stops lagging on me. Man, this sucks. Come on. Okay. We're almost there. Okay. Now it's still screwed up. Oh, I know what I can do. I can turn this page off. Yeah, it's the page I have my YouTube on. which is Firefox, of course. I'll have to turn that off. Yeah, it's complete. There it goes. Okay. Now bear with me, because I don't want to do anything until I get my closing music lined up. But my stupid computer, I know this is so terrible. Close window. Yeah, okay. I got to reopen Firefox, reopen my browser so I can get some music queued up here for when I sign off. Otherwise, I'm going to have dead air. That would suck. Come on. Poor computer. You guys want to buy me a new computer? A new server? We need a new server. Well, actually, we don't need a new server yet, but we certainly should have a backup server. That's for sure. That would be nice, actually. Let me try this one more time. Okay, come on. Come on. Now if I get Firefox to load. No, seriously, I don't want to hang up on you guys until I get some music lined up. So just bear with me. Anyway, I do hope you guys enjoyed it. Next time, maybe one of you would call in, perhaps. Even though we did have some fun and all that, it's always nice to hear from somebody, especially somebody new that calls in. Also, if you have any other feedback, you want to share, we'd appreciate it. Well, I can't even get Firefox to load. Come on. And of course, remember, we do need donations just to pay for our stuff. Sometimes the bills come in every 3 months. Some of the larger bills come in on a 3-month basis. We just had one that had to get paid. That was kind of big. That was every 3 months, quarterly. But I don't have an accountant to keep track of the stuff for me. I just have to try to keep money in the PayPal, and that's where you guys come in. Okay. Wow, I totally cannot get YouTube to fire it back up for me. Let me get it one more try. It's really acting weird. Huh. Poor server. It probably needs to reboot. It's getting tired. It's been running for, it looks like it's only got 83 hours on it, so it must have got rebooted here sometime. Wow, it's not letting me, wait, it's trying. It's trying. What's going on? What happened? A crash? Mozilla crash? Restart Firefox. Come on. I don't want to hear sorry. I want to hear restart. Poor Firefox. Firefox is struggling. Well, it's hot here too. It's actually 82 degrees right now. Looks like I had a high of 90 sitting by my computer. So yeah, 82 degrees Fahrenheit near a computer is probably not ideal. I'm guessing. I'm thinking 90 degrees probably wasn't ideal either, but it was up to 90 degrees in here today. So yeah. Oh, come on, Firefox. Firefox is already running, but it's not responding. Okay, close Firefox. Let's try that. Jeez. Firefox is installing your updates. Oh, thank you, Firefox. Jeez. Wow, where would I be without you? Anybody want to call in just for fun? Let me see if anybody's listening still. Oh, well, let's see. We lost a couple people, but most of you are still there. Hi. Hi, shall I read down the list? Let me see. Hi, Lee. Hi, Lee. I see you there. United Kingdom is still there. Thank you. Australia, Saratoga, Ottawa, Chicago, Kalispell, Montana. Hey, I know who that is. How you doing, big guy? Mountain Man. That's you, isn't it? How you doing, dude? Hey, thanks for listening. Chicago. Yeah, I think I know who that is. We got a couple of Chicago. Oh, well, obviously. We got a few Chicago here. I'm not getting this music up. All right, guys. I hate to tell you this, but I don't even know if it's going to let me turn off the recorder, but I'm going to probably. Oh, there it goes. Wow. It's the CIA. That's what it is. They're attacking me. See? Yeah. Wow. Yeah, it's starting to fire up. Gee, I might actually pull this off. Amazing, huh? I know. I'm really going to have to edit this. I can't possibly leave all this stuff. Oops. Did it give me the right music? Wait a minute. That's the right music. Okay. Bear with me. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the show. But we try. But even though it's a ton of work for me, though, I would like to get more people in here to. Whoops! I hope the music doesn't turn on. Mute. I would like to get some people in here to fill up the roster, if you will. We do definitely need some more hosts. But and one of these days, obviously, it would be nice if I had somebody that could help out with the server and do all that wonderful stuff that we need. You know what I mean? All right, hang on. I almost got my little musical thing fired up. All right, guys. I could put up another show and all that, but seriously, I got to just put one little song up here first, just so I can, give everybody a little break. I know a lot of you are going to hang up the server and all that. I'm going to put up the last show that we put up, which was last show we did was Freedom of Choice. Okay, so you're going to get Freedom of Choice and Dave, but Freedom of Choice was a good show. Okay, that was a good show, and it coincides with what we just talked about. If you haven't heard it, so it's about John Podesta. So I'm going to play this song, and I'm going to fire up the Freedom of Choice show about John Podesta. All right, I hope you guys enjoy. Hang on. Anyway, again, I do apologize for the craziness, but hey, what can I say? I think I had a pretty good time. I hope you guys enjoyed it. So once again, my name is Stephen D. Kelley. This is Truth Cat Radio. This is the Stephen D. Kelley Show. It is June 29, 2017, and I am going to sign off, so I'm going to say good night. Goodbye. Wait, no, I got it wrong. Wait a minute. Good night. Oh, that's it. Good night. God bless. Adios. And goodbye.